Hey, it's KB, and I love movies. On today's conversation, we have Andrew, also known as Commander Nerd from the Steelbook Crew. He was the recommendation that Dave from Durant Cinema recommended, so it was cool to catch up with him and to talk about the Steelbook Crew. We get a little deep there for a little while, give you a little information that people have been speculating about, and Andrew was nice enough to bring some clarity to the situation. But we also had fun and talked about our favorite film franchise, and we really got into a lot of good conversation. So stick around and hope you enjoy it. Today on the conversation, we have a fellow YouTuber, member of the Steelbook Crew, all around great guy, and Star Wars enthusiast, which I was happy to find out. That's why I came representing today. We have Commander Nerd, aka Andrew.
How's it going, everyone? Pretty excited for this conversation with you.
Same here, man. Same here. So what we like to do is just to start off with a non-movie question, and then we'll get into the good stuff after that.
Of course.
So first question is, how's married life?
It's good. I still aggravate my wife. She's sitting in the same room as me, so
Hello,
you might
Renee.
hear her trying to distract me or something.
Well, it sounds like you're both doing your jobs.
Yeah,
You got married on a very important date to us Star Wars fans, May
of
4th.
course. That way I'll
Made it.
never forget, but knowing
Mhm.
my luck, I will still say it's Star Wars Day.
Yeah, you want to be careful with that stuff. Or you could follow up and say, the most special day of my life,
Star Wars Day.
Exactly. Let's stay on the Star Wars tip for a little while.
Okay.
Tell me about your first experience with anything Star Wars.
Oh, wow. Well, I have vivid memories of like going to the movies when I was young and stuff like that. Like I don't remember a whole lot, but I remember because they did the special edition re-release in theaters in 1997, and I was 4 or 5, and my
Mhm.
cousin Greg took me to see it, and that was my first experience with Star Wars, was seeing Star Wars: A New Hope in the theater. And ever since then, it's just been a love for Star Wars ever since. Come 24 years later. I think it's
Wow.
24, 25 years later.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's crazy. I've told a story on here about my son before. Thanksgiving night, I went to drop some people off at the train station, came back. My wife's like, look at what your son is watching. Go around the corner, the TV's on. It was the Fox Channel premiere of episode 1.
Oh,
And
wow.
he's like into it. I mean, he's young. He's like 4 or 5,
Mhm.
same age as you. And it's the pod race scene. So I'm like, hey, buddy, you like that? He's like, yeah. No, I got all the movies. I got the
Yeah.
Holy Trilogy, all that. So I'm like, you want to see more? He's like, yeah. Next day, we watched all 3 in a row.
Now, did
And
you do the prequels and then the originals, or did you go in chronological order, or did you do originals then back to the prequels?
at that time, I think it was only episode 1 that was out. And
Okay.
it was right before episode 2 was coming out.
Okay.
So I had 4, 5, 6, and 1,
Mhm.
but I didn't have anything,
Okay.
So I would have liked to do it prequels, Holy Trilogy,
Mhm.
and then, but
Yeah.
everything after that. But at the time, I just had the 3, and I was like, if he's gonna learn the ways
Yeah.
of the Force, we're gonna stick with the meat of it.
Yeah.
So, and now his encyclopedia is bigger than us. Between the two of us, I think he could beat us in Star Wars trivia. And he's done
We'll
that to me.
see.
He's done that to me a few times. So, Do you also collect like any memorabilia or anything like that?
Funny you mentioned that.
What you got? Ah, always nearby.
Always.
Always. I love it. I love
And
it.
my favorite color is blue. So
Hmm.
every single lightsaber I've had has been basically blue.
Nice. Nice. Anything like movie props or anything like that?
No, no movie props. Well, I do have the master replica hilt of Anakin slash Luke Skywalker's from A New Hope
Hmm.
lightsaber, but I have that hidden somewhere. So um because that's the first lightsaber you see.
Right.
And it's always been like I'm big on like the lightsaber hilt designs and how different each one is. But it's just something about Anakin's that I just like the most. It's just such a cool design. And even though it's just from flashbulb from camera.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, primitive weapons from simpler times, but
Yes.
so nostalgic, especially for fans that go back. I'm trying to think. I believe to answer the question I asked you, I missed the original. Um, my first piece of Star Wars was the hype.
Mm,
So, you know, everyone going to see it,
yeah.
news stories about, theaters being sold out for the entire day from the first half hour, people
Yeah.
stand online around corners, and then the Kenner toys.
Oh, the
And
Kenner Twins were great.
yeah, having, as many as I could get, getting good grades and asking for a
Yep.
toy kind of thing. And then because in those days we didn't have home video, so movies would be re-released,
Yep.
seeing it on a re-release and begging my dad to take me, and him having the damn nerve to fall asleep in the theater with
Wow.
all the
Then
all
again, my
the
dad would fall asleep a lot too.
all the sound effects going off and the pew pew and all that, and he's dead asleep, dead asleep. He's a
And Star
hardworking
Wars is
man.
not a quiet movie, so that's
I
impressive.
know, I know. He tried to do that when we went to see Raiders, but my mom wasn't having it. She's like elbowing him the whole
Yeah.
time. It was pretty funny, but yeah, that's like my first theatrical experience watching
Mm.
Star Wars. What is considered canon that you think shouldn't be? Let's go there.
Well,
We're nerding out today.
yeah, I would say not so much not canon, but I think they should have had a full story set up for the sequel trilogy.
I agree.
They had one for Force Awakens, but after that they had nothing.
Yeah.
Um, I wish that it was just J.J. Abrams that did the entire trilogy. That
Hmm.
way, The Last Jedi wouldn't feel like a completely different movie.
Yeah. It felt
Um,
like he was trying to correct Ryan Johnson's mistakes, if you
exactly.
want to call it that.
Yeah, and like there, I can watch The Last Jedi, but it is my least favorite of the Star Wars movies. There's some great stuff that I love in The Last Jedi, like the stuff with Luke Skywalker, teaching Rey, and all that stuff. And the thing I don't get is like I get people wanted the same Luke Skywalker that we had in Return of the Jedi, but it's 30 years later. He's not going to be the
The same
same
person.
the same person. And if he was the exact same as he was in Return of the Jedi, then what's the point? He has to have something to overcome. And I liked his story arc in The Last Jedi because it's like if you saw that your apprentice was going to cause all this mayhem, any of us would have reacted the same way he was going to. It's like, I gotta snuff this out right now,
Right.
get it done with. And then he's like, oh, wait. this is where my father went wrong. I'm going down the same path.
Hmm. It's like part fear and also like, well, a Jedi shouldn't have fear, but
Exactly.
it's also like looking at the past and not
Mhm.
wanting to repeat it.
Exactly. There were things that I called in The Force Awakens. I'll never forget because I do a podcast with my friend Robin called Brick City Blockade, and we talk all like Star Wars stuff. And I remember because it was the first podcast I was on, I was like, Ray is a Palpatine. And that was after The Force Awakens. So
Wow. Wow. I would love to go back and hear that. If you have like a link to that episode, I would love to go back and hear that and like
because
see the date stamp and all that.
I was like, Ray goes more towards anger. There's just something there that connects to Palpatine to me. And lo and behold, it's like, he's your grandfather. I'm like, I call.
Good call. Good call. Kind of a flip of that question. So is there anything in the EU? I don't call it Star Wars legend, but
Yeah.
anything EU that you wish was canon? I have my number one, but I want to hear yours.
Darth Revan. Um, he's slowly starting to come into canon because in The Rise of Skywalker, the cultists are called the Revanites. So his name is canon, just the character
Mm-hmm.
itself isn't yet. Um, I mean, he has to be at some point because um, I don't know if you collect the Black Series lightsabers, but they released his
Oh,
in
really?
the replica lightsaber line and stuff like that.
Huh.
His signature purple one, and the cool thing is you can change it to red, and
Hmm.
which I think is pretty cool.
That is cool. For me, the Jedi Twins. I would have loved to see them. I mean, the whole Ray and Ben story, that's great, but I would have loved to see the
Mhm.
Jedi Twins pop up and become canon.
Yeah,
But all we have that is in the EU.
they they're starting to dive into the High Republic stuff. So there could be something like that there where it's not in the timeline of where, like, of course, Jason and Jaina are, but it could be like a different, two different twin Jedi, or
Hmm.
one Jedi and one Sith, because they're doing a Disney Plus series called Acolyte, which follows the dark side and everything like that. So there's something that could come up with there, but
Yeah, I
I,
heard the guy
they
from
can.
Squid Game is going to be on it.
Yeah, I think he's the lead role. I think.
I hope they don't make it like a Maleficent kind of story, though. That's the only
Yeah,
thing.
from what I've heard, Darth Plagueis is going to be the main Sith. So we're gonna see like Palpatine's master. So that's gonna be
Hmm,
pretty cool, I think.
I think so too. All right. Just so we don't lose the entire non-Star
Yeah.
Wars audience, because I could just keep going. Let's switch it up. How much fun was Silver Scream Con?
Oh, it was a blast. It's probably my favorite convention so far, just because of how well organized it was. Like I've
Hmm.
been to Comic Cons and like Anime Boston and stuff like that, but there the way Silver Scream Con was set up, like it was in a hotel, so you would think it's like it would be too crammed together, but like I hate using the word, but it was like perfect. Like you didn't
Yeah.
feel like you were on top of everyone. Like the most busy was like around 12, 1 o'clock, but even then it wasn't too bad.
Is that like when all the appearances started and everything?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When like everyone was there and everything like that.
Who was your favorite person that you met that day?
Uh Probably James Jude Courtney, who's the new Michael Myers, solely because when I got his autograph, because he was using a specific like ink that would smudge if you didn't let it dry. And
Hmm.
he's like, if I see that smudged, I'm gonna kill you.
And he might mean quite literally.
Yeah.
That's cool. What is your favorite genre? Is it horror, sci-fi? Do you
It's
have
a
one?
it's a bit of everything, honestly.
Yeah.
Um, I gear more towards like sci-fi fantasy because I love, of course, Star Wars. I love Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, everything like that.
Hmm.
Um, but horror is just I love the feeling of being scared, but there hasn't been a horror movie that's legitimately like scared me in a long time. And
Yeah.
I think Terrifier 2 might do that or
I
just
have
gross me
not
out.
I have not seen the first one, but I've heard stories.
It makes Saw seem like child's play. So
Wow. Um, have you seen this past weekend or heard about Barbarian?
I've heard of it. I have
Hmm.
not seen it, but I've heard good things about it.
Me too. Me too. And for some reason, as much as I think X was overhyped, I'm
Mhm.
looking forward to Pearl. By the time this comes out, it'll probably be out, but
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. So we've heard Dave's story, but I want to hear your version of how the Steelbook Crew got started.
Well, I honestly think it fully started on the first Black Friday we did.
Hmm.
Because before that, it was like just me and Dave would do a hunt, or like you just run into Pat. And Black Friday was the first like hunt we did as a group,
Yeah.
and that's actually when I met Pat and Steve. Um, if you want me to later, I'll get into the siege stuff very briefly. Because I did touch on it on a live stream of why he's not a part of the Steelbook Crew. I'll touch on that a little bit later, though.
Oh yeah. Whenever
Um,
you want to.
it was actually my first Black Friday because before that I was working at Walmart, so I was working the past 5 years of Black Fridays. So I'm like, I want to actually go and see what it's like as like
A
a
customer.
customer and
Yeah.
not someone working and wanting to die.
So I saw the tattoo. Well, I saw the logo that Tony P made.
Yeah.
So out of everyone, who do you think would be the first to get a tattoo of that?
Uh I'd say probably Pat
Okay.
because he's a metalhead anyway, and he is like he does it or he was in a metal band and stuff like that. So he'd definitely be the first one to get the Steelbook Crew tattoo.
Yeah. Um, I know you watched the conversation with Dave, but I am serious. I need to get up there. I'll leave my Yankees hat at home, but I need to get up there and just take a bull moose trek with you guys and
That would be awesome.
just have some
I
time at
mean, you can
Mecca.
bring your Yankees hat. I mean,
I don't want us to get into any fights with anybody, not
fair
between you
enough.
guys, but we have a lot of Boston fans out there that
Yeah, yeah,
don't appreciate anything but the Sox. So
yeah. Even though they suck.
and they had their time. Believe me, the last 2 decades have been kind of hard as a Yankees fan looking at Boston succeed. So we won't go there. We won't go there. As a movie collector, let's switch into collecting,
Okay.
especially with steelbooks.
Mhm.
Do you have like a Pierce Theresa Stones, like the it in your collection?
I mean, one that was probably the hardest to find was the Superman Returns steelbook, because that's out of print,
Yeah.
and I managed to find one because they go for like $100 now. But I found one on Mercari for like $40. I'm like,
Oh
I'm not
wow.
gonna find it at this price, so I might as well do it
No.
now.
Yeah, that's a steal.
Yeah.
I'm trying to picture exactly what it looks like. I'm still kind of new to like the Blu-ray 4K Steelbook.
It's kind of like the first poster for Superman Returns with Superman and then Lex Luthor in the background. And
Hmm.
on the back it has the Superman logo and whatnot.
How many Steelbooks would you say you have now?
Probably geez, Well, when I met Dave, I had 107 already, and I had just been collecting for a year and a half. That was 2019. 2022 now. I'm basically, I want to say probably over 400 now. I haven't actually like stopped and like counted since
Yeah,
in a while. So I definitely think it's close to at least 400 now.
I should have asked him this, but as a member of the crew, what is it about Steelbooks that's so appealing? Is it just the artwork? Is it the
Uh,
exclusivity?
it's a combination of the art, and I just like the packaging a little bit better than the
Hmm.
regular like 4Ks. Like I've started to collect like regular 4Ks now too, but I mean steelbooks, it's just a cooler look to them, especially when they're on your shelf because it's like you can look at the spines and they're all showing like the title of the movie and everything like that. And yeah, the first steelbooks I got were the prequel and original trilogies for Star Wars. So I'm like, all right, I guess I gotta keep collecting steelbooks now.
And that was where the addiction started.
Yeah,
um, I don't know. There's something about it. Do you have like a favorite one out of all of them?
that's like trying to choose your favorite pet or kid.
I know, but I ask it anyway.
Um, I'll give two.
Okay,
I really like the American Psycho steelbook with the slipcover.
love that. The Lionsgate. Yeah,
That's a favorite of mine. And my Mondo it chapters 1 and 2 steelbooks from Zabby.
nice, nice.
Mhm.
Mondo does a great job.
They do.
We used to have Alamo Draft House here, and they had that partnership. So
Yeah.
if there was like a re-release or special release or something, they'd usually have like Mondo T-shirts or steelbooks sometimes, or
Mhm.
limited edition glasses.
Yeah.
So you'd always see that stuff. I actually have when they did the Full Metal Jacket
Oh yeah.
re-release. It was like a one night thing, and I have like the T-shirt, the Mondo T-shirt.
That's cool.
So yeah, it really was. What are some titles you would recommend? You mentioned anime before, like someone who wants to like get into anime. What would you recommend for them, like dipping their toe into the anime game?
I mean, if they want to like go full force into like anime, I'd say Death Note would be a good first one. But if you want to just like slowly ease your way in, Dragon Ball Z would be a good
Hmm.
one. Um, Pokemon, that's a common one for everyone. So,
Yeah, I saw
uh,
Death Note. I really enjoyed that.
yeah, Death Note was one of the animes, like first animes, where I was like, I can't stop watching it. I literally binge watched that in like 4 days.
Yeah, I believe you. I believe you because it's such a unique story,
Mhm.
and the way they leave off episodes is like, well,
Yeah,
I think I have time for one more,
yeah,
and then you're up at 2:30 in the morning, like, oh boy, I gotta
and
go
then
to
you
work
have work in
tomorrow.
like 3 hours.
Yeah, but it's that kind of series. I just hope. I know they mentioned they're coming out with the live action one, and I don't
Another
know.
live action one because Netflix did one and it's
Yeah,
just bad.
yeah, we don't
The
talk about
only
that one.
decent thing is they had Willem Dafoe as Ryuk, but he's only in it for like 5 minutes. And it's like Ryuk's like a big part of the series. How can you only have him in it for like 5 minutes?
Right? That's crazy. I saw that Dragon Ball, what is it? Dragon Ball
Yeah.
Superhero is coming out on December 7th. So
Mhm.
you're a Dragon Ball fan?
Yeah. I mean, yesterday I just pre-ordered the steelbook set of the Dragon Ball Super series. So
So just being a novice here.
mhm.
So the movie that was out number one for the week and all that stuff,
Yeah.
is that an offshoot of the series or
Yeah, it's kind of an offshoot, but also a continuation. So there's times where like some of the episodes will actually lead into the movie. I'll actually use the example with My Hero Academia. That's also another one that is pretty good that isn't too hard but easy to get into. Their newest movie, World's Heroes Mission, there was actually episodes that led up to the movie, and then when you saw the movie, it was a continuation of where the last episode left off.
So that's probably why, like, superhero. That's probably why that like was able to claim the number one spot at the box office. Slow week combined with like a continuing story.
Yeah,
It just brings all the fans of the show into the movie theater.
Mhm.
So that was pretty smart on their part.
Demon Slayer got number one for a while as well. Mugen Train, that was another good one. That came out, I think, 2020, 2021.
A lot of good stuff out there for
Of
sure.
course.
Um, just have one more question before we do the 5 takes. But two instances I remember when you guys were watching the Jurassic Park 3 watch along.
Yeah, besides us watching it twice in a row.
And almost 3 because
Almost 3.
Dave was up for a third time.
Except he almost drowned himself in his water, and I would have had to walk to his house and save him.
But I was also thinking about when you guys were recently on Huck's Trivia Night. So just focusing on that and the way you were consuming your beverages. How rough was that day of work? Because you just, on the low, you just said it real quick. You were like, yeah, rough day at the office.
You would think it was like Christmas the next day with how busy it was. It was nuts. And it's like, it's just a regular day. I get everyone's going back to school, but
it was just unexpectedly busy and crazy. Those are the worst days because you get
I think
into
it was
routine.
a Monday, so
yeah, it was. So it's like you go in and you're thinking it's just going to be a regular Monday at work.
But I will say this: Huck thinks I was just drinking beer after beer. I only had 3.
It seemed like a lot more. I would say it almost seemed like twice that. Like you were like throwing down a 6-pack or something.
I know.
I was like, wow, he's really going for it. But it definitely looked like that. So, ready to do 5 takes?
I'm ready.
All right. So we will start with number 1. Name the film that made you fall in love with the movies.
Star Wars: A New Hope. That was the one that I remember like seeing like clearly. And it was A New Hope that made me fall in love with the movies. And I just want to say, everyone was like, "Oh, I want to be Luke Skywalker. I want to be Han Solo. I wanted to be Darth Vader."
A little bit of Sith.
Yeah,
I hear you.
Plus, he just looked so cool.
He did. He had like a pimp walk. He had the best theme once Empire came around.
Once the cape started flowing, he had that pimp walk.
He definitely had that pimp walk. And like I said, when Empire came around, they made that Imperial March.
Yep.
It was over. A lot of people think that was in 4, but wasn't.
No, it wasn't. I didn't mind the Imperial theme in A New Hope, but John Williams is just like, I need to create something even better. And it's a theme that's known for now 42 years now.
It's iconic. It's iconic. All right. We already started to go this route, but number 2, name 5 of your favorite films besides Star Wars.
Yeah. Well, Lord of the Rings, Back to the Future, Star Wars. But besides Star Wars, the Universal horror movies, I'm counting them as one whole movie because they do kind of intertwine and connect. Spider-Man: No Way Home, That's my favorite of
Interesting.
the Tom Holland trilogy.
Interesting.
And then Avengers Endgame.
Hmm. Now, because you bring up Endgame, I always have to ask, is it the theater experience or is it the dramatic elements of the
It's the
movie?
culmination of like the 10 years leading up to everything that was on screen. Especially with Captain America finally saying Avengers Assemble.
Yeah. I
Um,
think between that and Infinity War, two of my favorite theatrical experiences
yeah,
for sure. Yeah, I say this all the time, but I still go on YouTube and watch audience
I do
reactions,
the same thing.
and I get chills
Especially with
every
Star
time.
Wars. Star
Yeah.
Wars, you'll get some interesting reactions to stuff.
Number three, name a classic movie that everybody loves, but you can't stand.
Ha! I'm definitely gonna get hate from Dave and Tony on this one.
Hey,
Avatar.
we already said, like on his, we said we know Andrew has opinions,
Yeah.
so this is your time to bring them out. So you said,
Avatar.
go on
Um,
about it.
I personally have not seen it, but I feel like it is one overhyped. Two, it overshadows one of the best animated series ever made, Avatar: The Last Airbender. So whenever I'm talking about Avatar, they're like, "Oh, are you talking about the blue people?" I'm like, "No, I'm talking about the
We
Last
like that one.
Airbender."
We were talking about Last Airbender.
And I'm sorry, it took how long for a fucking sequel? Sorry, I didn't mean to
Yeah,
swear,
no, you're fine.
but how long for a sequel to come out?
I don't think they'll get a budget for another one because I'm surprised, like the bomb that the first one was. It was like, just stop, no more, no more. It was god awful, especially if you're a fan of the animated series.
Oh
To
no,
go from
I'm
that,
talking about the blue people Avatar.
okay, let's go back. I'll ask that question again. Classic movie, everybody loves. You can't stand James Cameron's
James
Avatar.
Cameron's Avatar.
Okay, so you said it's overrated.
It's overrated.
Took too long for the
Took too
sequel.
long for a sequel, and I just don't get the appeal of it. I get it, like I get, I get, like everyone liking it and the visuals and everything like that. It's great, but I just feel like it's overhyped.
I appreciate it for the exact thing that you just mentioned, the visual. Because I remember I'm sitting there in the theater, 3D IMAX, and I'm blown away by the 3D effects
Mhm.
because I'm tired of seeing,
Yeah,
those kind of 3D things. So it was interesting to see a 3D where it was actually layered 3D effects
yeah,
used properly. But it got to the point that I was like, get away from Sam. Go back to,
yeah.
the blue
Sam
people.
Worthington's not that great of a lead actor.
Exactly. I didn't
No
want to see
offense,
the
he
real life
wasn't
stuff. I
great
wanted
in
to see the blue people.
he wasn't great in Terminator Salvation. He wasn't that great in Clash of the Titans or War of the Titans. And those are guilty pleasures of mine. I do enjoy those two movies, but
Me
not for
too.
Sam Worthington because
No.
Liam Neeson's in
Let's flip that question. Name a critically hated movie that you love.
it. Ooh,
There's a lot of
honestly,
horror. There's a lot of sci-fi out there. You could go a
yeah,
different
I'm
direction.
actually gonna go video game route.
Okay.
The Assassin's Creed movie.
I've never
Well,
seen that.
it for a video game movie, it pretty much hit everything it needed to essentially feel like Assassin's Creed, but because it wasn't a carbon copy of the video games, everyone just like dismissed it. And it's like Michael Fassbender doesn't take that great of roles, but
Hmm.
him as Aguilar from Assassin's Creed, he played that role really well. And he was a fan of the source material. So he took elements from the video games and made it to where it would fit in the movie universe.
That's cool. And finally, number five, who would you like to see me have a conversation with on this channel?
Well, staying on the theme of the Steelbook Crew, I got to go with Tony.
Tony
From
P.
Tony's movies and more. I think you'd have a fun conversation.
Yeah.
I guess I'll talk a little bit about the Steve situation.
Yeah.
Now, these are allegations, but I did see proof of said thing happening. There was a music festival, and there was this couple doing stuff. But yeah, granted, the couple's doing stuff in the mosh pit, and then Steve kind of leans over and slaps her ass. But one thing, that's sexual assault, whether the person's drunk or not, that's
Right.
sexual assault. And come to find out, it's been a common thing with Steve over the years is he would make women uncomfortable at shows. So I found all this out from Pat. And I'm like, it was a hard few days because it's like, it's Steve. Like, we just had dinner with him like a few nights ago, and then we find this out. And it's like, yeah, could the couple have been not having sex in the mosh pit? Sure. But they're clearly intoxicated. You don't lean over and slap someone on the ass.
Yeah.
And to see that Steve sexually assaulted someone like that, yeah, it was a slap on the ass, but that's still sexual assault. I basically had to be like, because it's basically Dave, it's Dave, me, and then me as the one kind of running a lot of the group chats and stuff that we do and trying to set up like the group hunts. And so it came to me to be like, all right, we have to cut all ties with Steve because if anything else worse happens and we're connected with him still and doing videos with him, yes, the videos of him are still that we did with him in the past are still on our profiles because we didn't know about it then.
Right.
But going forward, we're having no connection with Steve whatsoever. And I told Steve, I'm like, if you can actually better yourself, maybe we can be friends again. Big maybe. But from what Pat said, it's been going because him and Pat were friends for 11 years. And it's been going on for basically that long. So, and a lot of people from the metal community have been coming forward being like, he's been making me feel uncomfortable. He's been doing this. He's been doing that. So I basically, we cut ties. Dave is still, I don't know if he still talks to Steve, but I know he sent him a text when we did kind of distance ourselves, being like, yeah. And so I basically just said to the group chat, I'll say it here, going forward, we have no connection with Steve. If he betters himself, great, but I do not see me having him featured in any more of my videos going forward, even if he betters himself, because you can better yourself, but just one slip up and you just screw everything else up again.
Yeah. And you have that stigma out there, and, you know, it's not a matter of truths, lies, or change in just change your heart. It's perception, and perceptions are usually permanent, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But, you know,
Sorry to get all real and stuff like that.
No, you know, I totally understand where you're coming from, and I'm sure people are, you know, they have their speculations, or they're like, where's Steve, or, you know, whatever the case may be. And some people are more deep into it than others. So, you know, you'll have people who didn't even know this was a situation, and then you have people who understand what's going on, and, you know, just looking to see the reaction from you guys as a group, you know, to see what your I don't know, your action or what you choose to do. So
Yeah, of
thank you for sharing that. You know, you didn't have to, but thank you.
course. Now back
So
to happier stuff.
so that's it. I just want to thank you for having a conversation with me today.
It
Like I
was a
said,
blast.
it's easy breezy, man. You know, we could talk movies, I could talk Star Wars all day long. So I appreciate the time that we
Yeah,
took
I'm
today.
gonna try and talk Huck into doing a Star Wars trivia
That
uh,
would be cool.
contest. And I'll
That would be
definitely
cool.
suggest having you on because I definitely want to see how your knowledge is with Star
Yeah,
Wars.
yeah. I have old knowledge, and sometimes I'm like, was that in the EU or was that? So it'll
Hey,
be
sometimes
interesting.
the old knowledge is perfect.
Yeah, because you know, a lot of people don't know, like, even if they see a character on screen, sometimes they don't know the names or whatever. So it's really cool. Maybe you could just fire up Star Wars trivia and we could work off that. You
Yeah,
know, that'd be cool. But until then, I want to thank you once again for coming on today. I
of
really
course, it was a
appreciate
lot of
it.
fun. Thank you for having me on.